Okay, so our presentation is about Heineken entering Peru. So the founder of Heineken is Gerald Adrian Heineken, and he bought a brewery in 1864 in Amsterdam and embraced the latest brewing innovations. The brewery grew quickly and the beer began winning multiple awards. Since then, many Heineken family members have led the business to the success it is today through increasing production and global expansion without compromising quality. They've utilized marketing strategies and sponsorships to make themselves the most international brewer in the world today. So in regards to ownership, Heineken Holding NV is a public company listed on the NYSE Euronext Amsterdam. Its single investment is Heineken International. It is majority owned by L'Arc Green NV, an investment vehicle of the Heineken family and the Hoyer family. L'Arc was founded in 2007, and the company manufactures alcoholic beverages. 88.86% is owned by the Heineken family and 11.4% by the Hoyer family. In the 19th century, they discovered unique yeast, and ever since this has been the key to Heineken's characteristic taste balance, which is subtle fruity notes that people all over the world fell in love with. They promise to continue to use unique yeast because it has been an important part of their overall global success. They offer over 300 brands in over 190 countries, which involve a wide variety of beers and ciders, which are split into internationally renowned brands, as well as local and regional ones, all led by their flagship brand, Heineken. The strategy is built around 5 business priorities. They are designed to help enable them to win in the marketplace, focus on long-term sustainability of their business, and continue delivering growth and shareholder value. They aim to lead the premium beer and cider segments across the world, leverage the global scale of their operations to deliver increased efficiency across the business, map their sustainability initiatives against both their business goals and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, empower their people to achieve both their own ambitions and those of the company, and place digital at the core of their business to connect and win with online consumers, retailers, and fragmented trade. Okay, so in terms of Heineken's established global presence, so Heineken already has an established global presence. On their website, they state, "Our unparalleled global presence sets us apart from our competitors. It allows us to draw on our regional strengths while remaining the world's most international brewer." As mentioned before, they have 300 Heineken brands in over 190 countries. They are trying to build a lasting presence in emerging countries, as well as continuing to evolve their offerings in the markets where they have always had a strong presence. Heineken is successful around the globe in places including Africa, the Middle East, Eastern Europe, the Americas, and Asia Pacific. They believe they have been able to enter and be successful in foreign markets due to the fact that they understand regional differences, trends, and preferences across those diverse groups of the world. Their success is based mostly on e-commerce and digital marketing because it allows them to be close to the consumer by engaging through their B2B and B2C e-commerce platforms. And then they also have multiple different types of beers and ciders that vary in alcoholic content and taste, and this has allowed them ultimately to enter foreign markets and cater to different parts of the world. They have achieved global coverage through exporting principal products such as Heineken and Amstel to profitable markets worldwide, and through foreign direct investment strategies in India, Africa, Asia, and Latin America to secure a strong presence, for future growth from emerging beer markets, as well as through strategic partnerships and alliances and licensing agreements. Heineken beer licensed to local brewers to produce and sell its products. Lastly, sustainability is a large part of Heineken's business, which has been highly receptive in all markets and is another factor in how they've entered and been prosperous in these foreign markets. Their focus areas of sustainability are linked with the UN Sustainability Development Goals. They've been committed to certain areas such as water balancing, CO2 and distribution, accident prevention, and regional sourcing in Africa. And most recently, they have seen a 33% decrease in water consumption in their breweries since 2008, 49% decrease in breweries' carbon emissions since 2008, 39% reduction in their accident rate since 2015, and 95% of market selling Heineken devote 10% of their media to spend to responsible consumption campaigns. Further, they have integrated a circular economy in which their breweries that this includes recycling wastewater to be used in non-product applications, reusing brewers' grain as cattle feed in some areas, and recovering waste heat.
Alright, so you might be asking, why enter Peru out of all the other countries? Well, one of the main points when it came to choosing Peru was their large consumption of alcoholic beverages. Peru is one of the largest consumers of alcoholic beverages in South America, with over 14 hectoliters, which is more than 369 million gallons of annual beer sales. This, combined with Peru's large population of over 31 million people, makes this market extremely lucrative to go into. Peru also offers a large amount of Heineken's potential demographic, and this is because that the drinking age in Peru is 18, and over 75% of the population is at least 15 and up. So subtracting the amount of people that are underage, that still leaves them with a pretty healthy chunk of individuals to sell their product to. Alright, so the entry mode of Peru, of Heineken. So the entry mode that Heineken is using to enter Peru is a strategic partnership. Heineken is choosing to partner with AJE Group, which is a Peruvian leader in the distribution of many different beverages. By partnering with AJE Group, Heineken will be able to gain a strong route and distribution network within Peru. Heineken is currently looking to export their many beverage products through any of the 70 countries that they have production facilities in. Heineken is basically looking for a moderate amount of control in Peru, and through this strategic partnership, they can utilize their current production facilities and be able to supply a good amount of beverages to Peru so that AJE Group can help them sell. And so AJE Group will be able to help Heineken through any processes that may seem foreign to them in order to quickly take over the Peruvian market. And so next is the Heineken's entry strategy. So the entry strategy that Heineken has taken in order to enter Peru is the strategy of global standardization and direct exports. Heineken is striving to enter countries at low costs to save more money. By going with a direct export strategy, they can directly distribute their product through a partner that they go into business with. In this case, Heineken has gone into business with AJE Group to broaden their horizons into Peru. This, combined with a global standardization strategy, leads to low costs in many sectors. There will, however, be some trade-offs when it comes to this entry strategy. One of the trade-offs is that Heineken will not be very responsive in the local market, and they must rely on their partner to do many things. Alright, so next is the cage analysis.
Okay, so the cage analysis of the Netherlands and Peru. So the cage analysis in between these two countries show us a couple of similarities that they share, as well as a few key differences they have that can prove to be difficult for Heineken entering Peru. So the first similarity they have is that both countries share the same major religion of Christianity. Now the next similarity they have is that they both share the same type of legal system, which is civil law. Now the first key difference they have is their corruption index rank. So the Netherlands ranks 8th out of 180, while Peru ranks 101st, meaning that working with third-party contractors in Peru could prove to be risky for Heineken, as they often expect bribes or other sorts of benefits. Now the next major difference they have is their intellectual property rights index. So the Netherlands has a score of 8.273, while Peru has a score of 5.139. Now the 5.139 is not necessarily low, but is also not very high either, meaning that the Netherlands and Heineken still have to be careful in Peru to uphold their brand and product value. Now the last difference I want to point out is the cultural difference of their individualism. So the Netherlands has a score of 80, while Peru has a 16. And a study in 2019 shows that countries with a higher score, their companies founded there are often more prone to make riskier business decisions, as well as being overconfident. So for the management of Heineken while in Peru, they have to be careful not to make a riskier than necessary business decision, as well as not being overconfident in seeing success immediately in Peru. Now, for the SWOT analysis of Heineken, a few of their strengths are they have a very recognizable brand name and are renowned for having high quality and good product diversity. Now, the next strength is actually product diversity. So, Heineken offers beer, light beer, as well as other types of non alcoholic beverages. Now, Heineken also has a very strong marketing strategy that is often very adaptable to different markets they are in. And the last strength they have is they have lots of global exposure. So Heineken has already established themselves in 57 different world markets. Now, a few of the weaknesses they have is they are often weaker in foreign markets in sales as well as recognition. And there are often many other types of local beer brands that are available in these countries. Now, their main weaknesses are in Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. A few opportunities that Heineken has is there's always an excess of global markets that they can enter. They could focus more on their e-commerce side of business and try to expand that side. And also increasing the brand awareness, again, in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. Now, a few threats Heineken has, especially when entering Peru, is they do not have any South American infrastructure yet. So they are yet to make a presence in South America. Another threat they have is many other types of beer brands are trying to enter Peru and South America. And lastly, it is a very fast-moving industry, the beer industry. Now, a few competitors they have in Peru is Backus & Johnson. So Backus & Johnson is also the oldest beer brand in Peru, being over 140 years old. If you look on the top right, those three beer brands are also all owned by Backus & Johnson and are also the top three beer brands in Peru as of now. Backus & Johnson also control 95% of the market share in Peru. Anheuser-Busch is a company and is also the biggest brewery in the world, but they're trying to push into Peru with their beer called Brahma, which proved to be very successful in Brazil. And then the last competitor they have is Asahi Group Holdings. Now, Asahi Group Holdings is a Japanese company that specializes in beer, beverages, and food. And they're also trying to push into Peru with their beer brand called Asahi.
So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about the VRIO analysis, starting with the V portion, which stands for value, basically meaning does this resource add value to the company. So for Heineken, one of their biggest strengths is their recognizable brand name. And Heineken is a beer company that's super well known and ranked all around the world. And this is a very valuable resource because it increases customer perceived value when the brand is recognized like that in so many different places. And it can also potentially give the company more credibility against other companies that just aren't as well known. And next, going on to the R, standing for rarity, this refers to the resources that only a few companies can obtain or resources that differentiate our company from other companies. So Heineken's product diversity is actually one of their rare traits. There are other beer companies and other companies in general that do have product diversity, so the trait itself is not rare, but it's how Heineken, how they go about their product diversity. So they actually focus strongly on ciders and other low or non-alcoholic beverages. They focus on adapting to consumer trends and behaviors, which right now, something that's super popular is health and wellness. So Heineken is noticeably adjusting to that by adding those non-alcoholic or low-calorie beverages. And something to point out is that as of 2019, they delivered 14.1 million hectoliters of those other beverages. So this just shows that it is a really strong trait for them because they had 14.1 million hectoliters of those type of beverages while still being a company that's mainly focused on beer. So that's that for rarity. And then moving on to the I, imitable. That's basically just resources that are hard for competitors to imitate. So for Heineken, their marketing and global exposure are extremely costly to imitate. Not to say it's impossible for other companies to reach and accomplish, but it would be very costly for other companies to get to the level Heineken is at financially. But not only that, Heineken has been in the alcoholic beverage industry for a very long time, so it's also difficult to get build that brand image that they've been building for so long. A quote from the company's website says, with over 300 brands available, more than 190 countries, every beer we make is part of its own story, with its own history and character, and is tailored to individual moments of joy all over the world. So with this being said, not only would it be extremely difficult to expand to that many different countries, but to have different products and tailor those products to specific areas and like different cultures, that would be very difficult and timely and costly to imitate. So that's about it for the I. Lastly, the O, organized to capture value. Heineken follows these 5 kind of rules for their organization and leadership, like a mix of both. So starting with number 1, delivering top-line growth in every market. So this is just ensuring that they deliver the best products and, like I said earlier, adapt to new consumer trends. Their second is drive end-to-end performance, which what this means for them is they're just this would be focusing on fueling growth and increasing margins. And on their website, they put it as they're ensuring that their brewery footprint is fully optimized, so basically just using all the resources to the best of their ability. Number 3 is Brew a Better World, this one is more like focusing on their environmental sustainability, such as some examples are developing business-driven leaders, growing talent pipeline at all levels, building critical capabilities, and then they do make it a note to do all this while leveraging their diversity and culture. And then lastly, number 5 is connecting in a digital world. So this means connecting with consumers through new digitalizations, but also it means taking part in e-commerce and digital marketing. So it's both how they market and how they connect in a digital world. So that's about it for the VRO chain analysis, and next I will do the value chain analysis. So moving on to the value chain analysis, we start with the primary activities at the left, agriculture. Heineken uses barley, hops, and bittersweet apples as their main raw materials. For the grains such as wheat, barley, and corn, they're grown in a rotating harvesting schedule. It's also worth noting that Heineken is a member of the Sustainable Agriculture Initiative that promotes the production of safe, high-quality products that protects the natural environment. After agriculture, we move on to brewing. Heineken both malts their own barley and buys malt from third parties, so they don't necessarily have one way of doing it. They go between the two. And also at each brewery, they have an IT system to affirm efficiency and good practices. So that's kind of like a supporting activity. And then we have packaging. Heineken products are packaged in cans, bottles, and kegs. And Heineken is increasingly improving the impact of their packaging by optimizing the production of their packaging as well as changing their design to increase recycling and reuse rate. Next, we have distribution. Heineken distributes their products using several modes of transportation. Their modes of transportation include road, rail, ocean freight, and inland barges. Heineken consistently increases their distribution channels by training drivers and improving the design of their transport vehicles. And then lastly, we have the customers, how it gets up to the customers. Heineken has clear standards for responsible commercial communication on and offline. They also engage with partnerships, NGOs, and governments to reach a broader population and increase the range of their product. And then here at the bottom of the photo, we have support activities, and we have employees, suppliers, and communities. And Heineken employs more than 85,000 people in over 70 countries, so this is a big help in support activities to get those primary activities done, as well as the suppliers. They help with the brewing and packaging, and then, of course, the communities who are ultimately the consumers that are having the product. So that is about it for value chain analysis.
All right, so to conclude, we just kind of wanted to answer the question of, will the entry mode have a positive effect? And after the research we have conducted, we can say that yes, we believe that the entry mode will have a positive effect on the Peruvian market. It proves to be highly favorable, and the demographics line up really well with Heineken's target consumers. The beer sector as a whole in Peru is pretty large, but the premium beer market is very underdeveloped. I want to say it's about 4% of the beer market as a whole. So this just kind of goes to show that there is a lot of room for entry, and it's going to give Peruvians more choices in beer, which should definitely be something that they would be very attracted to. So that could definitely be a plus for Heineken. Also, Peruvian beer drinkers have a preference for lager beers and premium lager beers, which is what Heineken provides. So that just kind of goes to show that Heineken is going to be a good fit for this market because the consumers already like the type of product that they have. Also, going on with the demographics, the major age range for Heineken's consumers are going to be between the ages of 18 and 35. And this is also the biggest demographic age range in Peru as well. So that just kind of shows to be a good match there. And after analyzing the SWOT analysis, we can say that the partnership with AJE is going to be extremely beneficial to Heineken when entering the foreign market. Mostly because AJE knows the local customers' wants and needs, and they know how to deliver these products to them in a successful way. One of the weaknesses of Heineken in the SWOT analysis is entering foreign markets, so having a partner that is very aware of the local and cultural needs of the community and what these consumers are going to want is going to be super beneficial to Heineken when they are entering the market. And so for some final thoughts, we think Heineken definitely needs to keep in mind that there already is a vast majority of competitors in the craft beer market of Peru. So they really need to make sure to market themselves as a premium beer brand. And actually, they can learn this from their partner, AJE. They, a few years back, tried to introduce a craft beer brand into the Peruvian market, and it did not go well at all. There was too much competition there. And the main leading beer supplier in Peru is Backus & Johnson, and they basically have a monopoly on the craft beer segment of the market. And so when AJE went in there with another craft beer brand, it just could not compete with them. And so they didn't want to leave the beer segment as a whole. So what they did is they came back a couple years later and they introduced a new premium beer brand called Tres Cruces. And this is mostly found in Lima, in places like bars or nice restaurants or kind of exclusive places or supermarkets. And so we definitely think that Heineken should kind of follow on this same path and do a similar thing, and AJE will definitely have the tools to teach them how to do that. Also, we were just kind of thinking that they should take some promotionals into considerations when first entering the market. Definitely just to enhance the brand recognition there. Heineken is a pretty well-known name, and so globally, they do have a presence that they will notice, but a lot of these people probably haven't actually tried Heineken before. So by doing this, it could get more people to try the product and hopefully switch from the beer brands that they are already kind of committed to and switch over to Heineken to get something new and something fresh. Also, just kind of to finish it off, definitely they want to be pretty specific in market segmentation, kind of as previously mentioned. That happened with AJE. They just need to be pretty specific in the consumers that they are targeting. So definitely if they're kind of going in those higher class areas, we think that they are going to do a lot better as a premium beer brand. So here are our resources for our presentation. Thank you so much, you guys, for listening, and this concludes what we have for you today. Thank you.